Rabotai, this evening I spoke at the Yeshiva College between Mincha and Marim, and I explained a bit, those of you that was there, but most of you wasn't there. I explained about Shvei Shel Pesach. What is Shvei Shel Pesach? First of all, let's understand what is Shvei Shel Pesach. Shvei Shel Pesach is the last part of the day of the Pesach, okay? And it's not like Shmini Atzeret. It's completely different from the festival of Shmini Atzeret, the 8 days of Sukkot. It's completely different. And the reason for it, and to prove that it's completely different, because Shvei Shel Pesach is the continuation of the festival of Pesach. What do we do in Shvei Shel Pesach? In Shvei Shel Pesach, when we say the Kiddush, we don't say Shehyanu, number one. Number two, on Shvei Shel Pesach during the day, okay, although that it's a festival, we do not say the full Hallel. We don't say the full Hallel like usually we do in the other festival. Okay, I also would like to explain according to our tradition. Okay, Shvei Shel Pesach, it's the night of the 21st of Nisan. What's happened exactly? According to the Jewish tradition, and that's brought in the Mechilta, on a Wednesday night in the year 2448 from the creation, just before, if I'm not mistaken, 1 second, I just want to mute because there's noise in the background. Okay, now everyone muted, it's much better. On the night of the 21st of Nisan, the children of Israel, after they left Egypt, arrived to the Sea of Reeds. At that night, the Egyptian managed to catch with the Jewish people on the Sea of Reeds. Okay, what happened there? All of that night, the Egyptian was shooting stone, throwing stone, shooting bow and arrow and spears at the Jewish people. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle that they couldn't harm the Jewish people. Why? Because the plagues of darkness we explain, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the plagues of darkness on the Egyptian, it was for 6 days. Each plague was for 7 days. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept the 7th day of the plague of darkness for Shvei Shel Pesach. And the plague of darkness we explain, and that was very thick. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu make miracle that none of those stone, none of those arrow, none of those bow that they tried to shoot, okay, to use against the Jewish people with the spears cannot harm them. The children of Israel standing in a situation that in the front of them there is a sea, behind them the Egyptian. Hazal explained in the Zohar that wasn't more dangerous time to the children of Israel like that moment in Parashat Beshalach. The Zohar explained why. He said that he said like this. He said that on Shvei Shel Pesach that night, what happened? Hazal explained that they saw the Egyptian. They saw the Egyptian behind them, shouting, throwing stone, shooting arrows at them, throwing spears. They was frightened. From the other way, in the front of them was the sea. Hazal explained that the wave of the sea was in a height of 100 amah, 100 amah. 100 amah, it's 50 meters. This is a tsunami deluxe. The children of Israel, Hazal in the Zohar explained that didn't see more dangerous time. Why? There is two opinions that we bring later on that the angel of the sea, according to the Ramah, okay, the Ramah says his name is Rahab. The Zohar call it Uzzah, that's the name of the angel of the sea. And when he been told to be split, he refused. Say HaKadosh Baruch Hu to him, how can you refuse? He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you wanted to drown the Egyptian in the sea. Say, yes, I want to drown them in the sea. He said, why do you want to drown them in the sea? Because they're idol worshippers. Okay, they're pagan. He said, yes. He said, but I want to ask you something. The children of Israel, aren't they pagan? Didn't they worship idols? מה אלה עובדי עבודה זרה? אף אלה עובדי עבודה זרה. Those are idol worshippers, okay, the Egyptian, also the children of Israel are idol worshippers. And it was kind of a discussion between the Almighty and the angel of the sea, to be split or not. And Hazal explained that in the end, the Kadosh Baruch Hu promised, listen to that, the angel of the sea, that if he's going to be split, he's going to reward them many years later in Nahal Kishon. Nahal Kishon is by Haifa. Haifa, the city of Haifa, right in the north. When Sisra and his army going to go to war with Dvorah and Barak, okay? And what happened on that day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the day so hot that the soldier of Sisra, okay, was so hot because in the chariot they got boiled. They wanted to cool themselves, and they entered the Nahal Kishon. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewarded the sea, the angel of the sea, and he drowned all the soldier of Sisra. They all be drowned in the sea, and Sisra left by himself. And then he ran to the tent of Yael, and Yael given him cheese and wine, and then she killed him when she put the spears, okay, in his head. She killed him. So we see that it was the most difficult time, said the Zohar Kadosh, when the children of Israel stood on the Sea of Reeds. HaKadosh Baruch Hu then split the sea. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, the children of Israel crossed the Sea of Reeds, okay? We'll explain how did they cross, what was the idea behind the crossing, and everyone think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea in one lane. We'll, Be'ezrat Hashem, will explain that it's not exactly as we thinking. Hazal tell us something extraordinary, that when we say Shirat Hayam, when a person says Shirat Hayam, and we bring sources to it shortly, that when a person says Shirat Hayam is a remedy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us, and He doing atonement to all our sin. We'll explain that also. That's part also of the show. Another thing that we have to know before we actually gonna start the show, we'll go through it, that in the splitting of the sea on the 7th day of Pesach, okay, that was the final redemption of the Jewish people. And I will explain. The children of Israel left Egypt on the 15th of Nisan. 7 days later, when they arrived where? In a sea of reeds, that was the final redemption. That means that's when they really felt free. Why? When the children of left Israel, they gone through the wilderness until they arrived to the Sea of Reeds. When they arrive on the Sea of Reeds, the next thing they see behind them, the Egyptian, with Pharaoh and his army. And not only that, they have the special forces in that time that used to call the chariot, okay? and that was the cavalry, and the all was mercenaries, okay, chasing them. Okay, the next thing, they realized that they're not free. All the time, they never felt 100% free. The children of Israel, for the first time, from the Exodus that felt free, it was the following morning, on the 21st of Nisan in the morning, when they saw all the Egyptian body lying by their feet, okay? And they saw them dead. Not only that, that they took the spoil. But few miracles happen on that also that I would like to touch. As I'll explain what's happened. That when the children of Israel finished to cross the sea, they arrived to the bank, okay, of the sea. Akadosh Baruch Hu to drown all the Egyptian, make a miracle that all of those bodies, instead of drowning to the sea, what's happened to them? They've been pushed to the sea. Sure, that's mean right by the bank of the sea. So the children of Israel can see the Egyptian dying, and then they will feel free, that they wouldn't have any surprise later on. But Hazal tell us another miracle that happened. Listen to that. That the Egyptian, every Jew that stood on a bank saw the Egyptian that used to torture him in Egypt lying by his feet. And that's when they start taking the spoil, bizatayam. That means that the children of Israel, when they took the spoil, it took only from those that tortured him, that put him through slavery, what they owned them, okay, because they were slaves. And the payment was the spoil from them that the Egyptian bought. Pharaoh convinced them to bring all their jewelry, all their gold, all their money, all the precious stone to chase the children of Israel. What happened with all of these 600,000 bodies of the Egyptian? After they were dead, after the sea pushed them out from the sea, they've been swept out, there was lying. So the Jewish people can take the spoiled, the children of Israel. But what's happening with those bodies? Asked the Mefarshim. Rabotai, to the answer to that, we can find in Shirat Hayam. What did we say in Shirat Hayam every morning when we read Shirat Hayam? Tivla'emmo aretz. What does it mean? Said the Mefarshim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle, and the earth, the ground, swallow all of their body. That the children of Israel didn't even have to bury them. After they took all the spoil, okay, immediately the earth opened, and all of those Egyptians that chased the children of Israel to the sea of reeds been swallowed inside. What else happened there? And now I would like to bring interpretation for what Hazal explained to us and what Hazal tell us in Masechet Avot. Hazal in the Mishnah in Masechet Avot, in chapter 5, verse 4, explain, Asara nisim ne'asu la'avotenu, that means that 10 miracles happened to our fathers, al Yam Suf, okay, in the Sea of Reeds. And tonight I'm going to bring the interpretation of the great eagle, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, born in the city of Cordova, that's in Spain, 890 years ago. In his commentary, on his commentary to Masechet Avot, he wrote commentary on the Mishnah Masechet Avot, he explained the 10 miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done to the children of Israel from the moment that he split the sea. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll go step by step. What happened the first one? The first thing that happened, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. What does it say there about the splitting of the sea? ויבקעו המים. Jeffrey, that's in chapter in Sefer Shemot, Parashat Beshalach, chapter 14, verse 21. ויבקעו המים.
Got it.
Can you see it?
Yes,
read it.
got it. I've got it, Ralph. I've got it.
Yeah, read it.
Oh, okay. You want it? Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Hashem moved the sea with a strong east wind all the night. And he turned the sea to damp land, and the water split.
Okay, so Kadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. Number one. What's happened when Kadosh Baruch Hu split the sea? The next thing after Kadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, said the Rambam, that the water turned to a wall, one part on the left, one part on the right. But that's not only. On top of them, Kadosh Baruch Hu make like a water slab above them. That means that the children of Israel was right inside the sea, Rabotai. It was like a C shape, or like the letter Shet, all made from water. Akadosh Baruch Hu turned the water like a wall on the left, wall on the right, and a slab of the top above them. And that's what it said later on, V'amayim lahem homa miminam umismolam. I will translate that the water turned to a wall from the left and from the right. That was the second miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed for the Jewish people. The third part of the miracle that happened, said the Rambam, like Jeffrey read beautifully for us, that the ground, the sea, sand, okay, turned to a dry land, Yabasha. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the miracle for the children of Israel, that they don't have to walk on a damp sand. That the sand under the feet of the children of Israel was dry. Not only that what happened? The children of Israel feeling like they're walking on a dry land. The fourth miracle that happened, that when the Egyptian entered the sea, that dry sand turned to a damp, okay? And they felt like they're dragging, like a person walk on a wet sand. How difficult is it? And the chariot that they was riding, okay, the horses that they was riding, they all started to sink in that wetland. That was, Rabotai, the fourth miracle. So the Jewish people walking on a dry land, while the Egyptian on a wetland. Okay, the fifth miracle, Rabotai. After HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide that he gonna bring down the water on the Egyptian, okay, and he drowned them, what's happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu drowned all the Egyptian on the Sea of Reed, but what's happened? והמים קפאו והיו כמו אבנים. Chazal, the Rambam say. What happened? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned the water like frozen water, like rocks, okay? And when they came down, they came in the Egyptian. The Egyptian like felt like they've been hit against the rock in the sea. That means that instead of that, the sea turned to rocks, got frozen, and hit the Egyptian and they drowned. That's what it says in chapter 15, verse 5. Yardu bimtzulot kemo even. You want to read it for them, Jeffrey? ירדו במצולות כמו אבן.
Sorry, Rob, that verse number?
Chapter 15, verse 5.
Chapter 15. 1 minute. Right, chapter 15, verse 5. Deep waters covered them. They descended in the depths like stone.
What does it mean they descended like a stone? That, like a stone going down, the water came on them and they felt like stone hitting them, like a person get washed to the rocks. That's what the Egyptian felt, said the Rambam. Okay, that was the fifth miracle. What was the sixth miracle, Rabotai? Listen to that, and we have to understand that when the water got frozen, like we explained, Akadosh Baruch Hu made it like a beautiful wall. Okay, so the children of Israel, when they walk on a sea, okay, they will feel comfortable that when they walk, they saw those water like pieces of rocks frozen, and that was a wall for them. Okay, and it have a beautiful shape. Not only that, Hazal said the Rambam on his seventh miracle that here something very interesting happened. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he split the sea, and that not many people know, he split it to 12 lanes. Why Dafka 12 lanes? We have 12 tribes. So every tribe knew his own people, and they walked together on a lane. HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea to 12 lanes. So the tribe of Reuven was all on one lane. Shimon was on one lane. Levy was on one lane. Every tribe walked in his own lane. Where do we learn that? Hazal say something extraordinary. Hazal say that that's what we say, Ze Eli ve'anvehu. What does it mean, Ze Eli? Take the word, the gematria of the word Ze. Ze is Zayin, Hey. Zayin in gematria, what is it? 7. Hey is 5. Put them together, Zayin, that it's 7, and Hey, that it's 5 together, you get the number 12. Say the Rambam, from here you learn that the Almighty, by the word Ze, tell you that he split the sea to 12 lines. Not only that, the Rambam bring another source to it from the book of Tehillim. David HaMelech, in the book of Tehillim, in chapter 133, verse 13, what did David HaMelech say there? David HaMelech says something extraordinary. Lagozer yamsuf ligzarim. That means David HaMelech say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, but didn't split it just for one lane, for different lanes. That was the seventh miracle. What was the eighth miracle? Said the Rambam, I tell you. We say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. The water turned to ice. Ice is not clear. HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle that each piece of those water, like a rock from water that got frozen, was also clear. That the children of Israel can see the people on the left and the people on the right, not to feel like they're in the middle of the sea without seeing anything. Said the Rambam, you know where you learned that? It's in chapter 15, verse 8. What does it say? Kafu tomot beleviam. That means, Jeffrey, you want to read for us? Chapter 15, verse 8.
Yes. At a blast from your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. Straight as a wall stood the running water. the deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea.
That means that those water, not only that they congealed and there was wobbly, no, there was like ice block, but it was clear. That the children of Israel can see one each other and not to feel like they're lost in the middle of the sea. Because if it just was a pillar of water on the left and a pillar of water on the right, they can't see what there is on the right and on the left. Akadosh Baruch Hu made a miracle that he turned the water like a clear glass for them. And there wasn't just wobbly. It was completely like rocks. And that's the Hiddush. The ninth miracle that happened to the children of Israel, that when they was crossing the Sea of Reeds, people get thirsty. The children want to drink something. Akadosh Baruch Hu make the Sea of Reeds. If any one of you been in a Sea of Reeds in Yam Suf, the water is salty, so salty that I done diving there, and when I came out, I found all my body, on my arm, on my shoulder, when the water dry, like a white lane. It was salt. It's so salty. Akadosh Baruch Hu made the miracle. Listen to that, Rabotai, that the water turned to a sweet water. That if people wanted to drink water, they can drink from that water. But we said that it was ice. He said, yes. But when they wanted and they put their hand with their cup to drink, that ice water turned to liquid. Said the Rambam, you know where I learned it? I tell you. Again from chapter 15, verse 8, that beautifully Jeffrey read for us. It said there, Kemo ned nozlim. Nozlim is a liquid. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned those ice, water, block of ice, that also to be liquid automatically. Let me give you an analogy. Like a person want to wash his hand, and he put his hand under the taps, there is a sensor and the water comes. Or there is a person want to have some soap, and certain places you just put your hand under the dispenser and it's released, okay? Some soap that you can wash your hand. Say the Rambam that when the Jewish people just put their arm towards those ice block, they turn to liquid. And not only that they turned to liquid, that the liquid was sweet and not salty. Normal mineral water. That was the 9th miracle. The 10th miracle that happened to the Jewish people, okay, that when they finish to drink the water, what's happened to those water? They immediately frozen. That means that the liquid that they have, they can drink. But you would think that immediately that water going to continue to be liquid. No, that's turned to ice again. And that's what's happened. If left any water, okay, they turn to what? To frozen water. That's the Hiddush. That's how the Rambam explained the 10 miracles that happened to the Jewish people when they crossed the sea. But Rabotai, I would like to go a bit further. Why the 7th of Pesach? It's such a special day. What's so special about it that we have to celebrate it? And we'll see now. And we have to understand that there is remedy behind that day, and there is remedy, like we're going to explain shortly, or like I mentioned earlier, that a person, when he says Shirat Hayam, every day that you say Shirat Hayam, okay, and a person said with joy and happiness, it's a remedy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do atonement to all of his sin. But before that, we have to explain what's happened. When the children of Israel go into the Sea of Reeds, okay, we say, Ze Eli ve'anveu. What it means, Ze Eli ve'anveu? Chazal say in the Mechilta, ראתה שפחה על הים מה שלא ראה יחזקאל בן בוזי הנביא. I have to explain what does it mean. The Mechilta, okay, it's a midrash, halacha. He explained that what happened, that the children of Israel, when they stood on a bank of the sea, a maidservant saw what the prophet Ezekiel was not allowed to see. Asked the Mefarshim, how can it be? How can it be that a prophet cannot see what the maidservant saw on a splitting of the sea? I saw a beautiful interpretation that brought in Midrash Shmot Rabbah, okay, in chapter 21. The Midrash Rabbah explained like this in verse 10. He said, because when the Jewish people entered the sea, and we explained that each wave was 50 meter high, like a tsunami, they given their soul. They was willing to give their soul for the command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They achieved a higher level of spirituality, but that they entered the sea, okay? And they put themselves on danger to enter the sea just to keep the command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that you was willing to give your own soul. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw the devotion to the Almighty, spiritually uplifted. That Hazal say, what does it mean? Ze Eli ve'anvehu. In English, it means this is my Father, okay, and I will glorify him. Yeah. What does it mean? Hazal says something extraordinary. Listen to that. Hazal say that the little children, the little kids, say to their parents and they point a finger. This is the angel that teach us Torah while we was in the womb of our mother. Ze Eli, this is my God. This is the angel that taught us the Torah when we was fetus. Imagine to what spiritual level they reach on a splitting of the sea. But Rabotai, I would like to continue and to share with you another idea that can help us all year around. And we have to understand what's happening. But first, I'm going to do introduction. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Beshalach, in Daf Resh Chaf, that's mean 210, folio 2. Also, the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Haim Yosef David Azulai, in his book Tziporen Shamir. Tziporen Shamir, it's a mystical book. In verse 24, the Sefer Haredim LeRabbeinu Eliezer Askari, he lived in the 16th century in Shvat during the golden era of all the great. In his book Sefer Haredim, in verse 74, Ayin Dalet, Rabbi Shimshon Me'Astropoli also bring it, and they say something extraordinary. Listen to that remedy. He say like this, כל האומר שירת הים, בשמחה ובכוונה, מוחלים לו על כל עוונותיו. I will translate. The Zohar Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, that born in Jerusalem 301 years ago. Sefer Haredim, Rabbi Shimshon Me'astropoli, and many more. And by the way, it's been pasken in the Mishnah Brura, if a person want to see, in Siman Nun Aleph. Siman Nun Aleph, it's 51. Sa'if Katan Yud Zain. Say the Mishnah Brura, listen. Kol HaOmer, every person that say the song of the sea, Besimcha, with joy and happiness, Vekavana, what it means, Kavana, we will explain. Akadosh Baruch Hu doing atonement to all of his sin. What it means, Kavana? The Mefarshim explain that the person, when he says Shirat Hayam every morning, when we davening and we say in Shirat Hayam in Shacharit, we have to imagine that we crossing the Sea of Reeds, and Akadosh Baruch Hu saved me, and he drowned the Egyptian. You can use all of those translation that we brought, how the Rambam translates what the miracle. If a person imagining that he crossing the sea while he's saying Shirat Hayam, and the Egyptian behind him chasing him, okay, and he been saved, and the Egyptian got drowned in the sea, say all the poskim, and say the Mishnah Brura, again, if you want to check it up, 51, okay, Siman Nun Aleph, that means 51, Se'if Katan Yud Zayin, verse 17. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do atonement to all of his sin. But Rabotai, this is a remedy. And we have to understand how come that if a person saying Shirat Hayam with joy and happiness, when he's singing it with joy and happiness, and he saying it bekavana, kavana, that he imagined that he crossing the sea, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved him while he drowned the Egyptian, it's a remedy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will erase all of his sin. Why? What's hiding behind it? Rabotai, we have to understand that tomorrow night it's Shvei Shel Pesach, Shabbos is Shvei Shel Pesach. What's so special about that festival? What's so special about Shvei Shel Pesach that it's part of Pesach? But what's so great about it? The Mefarshim explain like that, Rabotai, and we have to understand. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu do a miracle to a human being, and that human being thanks the Almighty for all the miracle, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will continue to do miracle for him. When the children of Israel gone to the Sea of Reeds, at the beginning, they was underneath tremendous fear that they're going to drown in the sea. If not drowning in the sea, the Egyptian behind them going to take them back to slavery or even kill them. Rabotai, we have to understand, when a person have in mind that whatever happened to him, it's only for good, as Hazal say in Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, En ra yored min hashamayim. Nothing bad coming down from heaven. Sometimes we see things, to us it looks bad, but if we look deep, we'll see that it's only the best for us. Said the Mefarshim, you have to understand something extraordinary. And that's brought in Midrash Shoher Tov. Midrash Shoher Tov is a Midrash on Sefer Tehillim, okay, on Parashat Mishpatim. He says something extraordinary. He said like this, כל מי שנעשה לו נס ואומר שירה, הקדוש ברוך הוא מוחל לו על כל עוונותיו. What does it mean? If a person see a miracle happen to him, and he's singing and he's praising the Almighty, that means that he's happy, okay, and he's singing to Almighty, thanking the Almighty with joy and happiness, for that miracle that happened to him. He thanks the Almighty. He praised the Almighty. HaKadosh Baruch Hu do atonement to all of his sin. He erased all of his sin. The children of Israel gone through the Sea of Reeds. They saw the miracle that happened to them. They saw all the miracle that Hazal explained. The Zohar explained something extraordinary. The Rambam explained that they was thirsty. But what's happened if a person was hungry? Hazal explained that was tree. Kadosh Baruch Hu make a miracle. That fruit tree grown inside the Sea of Reeds. When the children of Israel wanted the fruit, they can just pick up an apple, orange, whatever it was. Imagine the miracle. The children of Israel saw all of those great miracles, and they thanked the Almighty by that they sang to the Almighty after they saw the Egyptian drowning. They praised the Almighty. Immediately that's made atonement for them. When we sing and when we putting ourselves in that situation, like the children of Israel, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, and we imagining all of that, say the Zohar HaKadosh, the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Eliezer Askari, Rabbi Shimshon Meastropoli, and many, many more, doing atonement to what? To all their sin. All the Midrashim speak about it. So when we say Shirat Hayam, when we tomorrow morning in Shaharit, when we say Shirat Hayam, and you start to saying it, and you're imagining that you're walking through the Sea of Reeds, and you have fruit, you have water, okay? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu provide you everything, and you're walking on a dry land. And then you see the Egyptian behind you, battling on a wetland. And then when the last Jewish person leg gone out of the sea just collapsed on them like rocks and drowned them. And to imagine 12 lines, that's doing atonement. I would like to bring another opinion and to explain something extraordinary. But before I'm going to start with that, I think I would like to mention something that I may forget to mention. People think that the children of Israel start from point A to point B when they cross the sea. No. The children of Israel start from point A, they done a circulation and came back to point A. That was the Hiddush and the splitting of the sea. That means that it wasn't that the children of Israel start on one side of the sea and gone to the other side. That's not what's happened in the splitting of the sea, said the Mefarshim. What's happened that the children of Israel, the way that they enter the land, the sea, from that point they make a circle and come back to that point that they enter. That's the Hiddush. So they can see the Egyptian by their feet, lying on their feet. The second interpretation and the second remedy to explain why, when a person say Shirat Hayam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu erase all of his sin and do an atonement, accept his atonement. I saw another idea that brought by Arav Yoram Abargel, Zecher Tzadik Vekadosh Livracha. And he explained like this. He said, in a time of Noah, was the generation of the flood. The entire humanity, when they sinned, it was such a horrible sin that they done, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could not keep earth anymore. What has he done? He brought flood to the world. That means that the flood washed the entire earth. That means to cleanse the earth from all the sin that been made by the generation of the flood. He needed to put earth inside the mikvah. That means that all the earth got covered with water. That means whatever was outside the water suddenly become in. Kadosh Baruch Hu need to cleanse them. The same like a person need to cleanse himself. How does a person cleanse himself? Going to the mikveh. Okay? In a time of the Torah, when a person got contaminated, the Torah tells us you have to go inside the mikvah, Maim Teorim, and then he cleanses himself. The same a woman, when she want to be with her husband before she get married and after they get married, there's a certain time that she have to go to the mikvah to cleanse himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the entire world in a time of the generation of the flood, he cleansed the world. Say Rabbi Yoram Mabargel, listen to that. The same happened with the children of Israel. That the children of Israel needed to be cleansed. Why? Because the children of Israel, like we explained, was idol worshippers in Egypt. And the purpose of the Exodus from Egypt was to receive the Torah. But the children of Israel was idol worshippers. HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed to cleanse them. What has he done? He put them through the sea of reeds. And we say that the water was on the right, another wall of water on the left. On top of them was a slab of water that was completely inside the water. So that means that the children of Israel, when they crossed the sea of reeds, they got cleansed from what? From the averot, from the sin that there was idol worshippers in Egypt. Okay? Why? Because they worship idols, like we explained. That means that the children of Israel gone inside the mikveh and they got cleansed. It say, the Mefarshim say, Rabbi Yoram Abargel, now you can understand what the Zohar HaKadosh, what the greatest commentary explained to us. That when you imagine that you crossing the sea, okay, of reeds, and you see all the miracle that Kadosh Baruch Hu done for you, and you're inside the sea, you're cleansing yourself from all your sin, but behind you, you see how the Kadosh Baruch Hu punished the Egyptian. He said, when a person cleanses himself like this, and imagining, he's doing cleansing to himself. Why? Because the final purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us from Egypt, made us a nation, by that he gave us the Torah. When a person also imagining all of that and saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Almighty, I'm thanking you. When I'm saying Shirat Hayam, I'm saying it with joys and happiness, with full kavanah. Like I was supposed to be drowned, but you with your mercy and compassion saved me. And you thanking to Almighty, like the Midrash Shoher Tov say in Parashat Mishpatim, and you singing Shirat Hayam, you deserve to have miracle. Kadosh Baruch Hu will erase all your sin. Say the Mekubalim something more deeper. From here you learn that Rabbi Yoram Abargel was a great Kabbalist. He said like this. He said, what was the purpose of all of that? To receive the Torah. The children of Israel reached to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. He said, by that you praising the Almighty, by that you thanking the Almighty for every miracle that happened to you, what are we doing? We actually sanctify the chair of glory of Kadosh Baruch Hu That means that the chair of glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu nishlam. כיסו של הקדוש ברוך הוא נשלם. That means that we actually taking and thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he create us, that he make for us miracle. We actually, what we're doing, we completing the chair of glory. That means that we're taking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And all the purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us as a nation to be a king for us. And now we completing His Majesty's chair, the Almighty, by that we thanking Him, by that we praising Him, by that we show that everything that He do with us, it's with mercy and compassion. Therefore, Rabotai, when we gonna sing Shirat Hayam on Shvei Shel Pesach, and every day we have to remember one important thing. Every morning, just to have to say it with happiness and imagine, just have an imagine. I'm crossing through the sea, all the miracle that's happening to me, while HaKadosh Baruch Hu drown all my enemy. And when I'm saying and I'm imagining that and thanking the Almighty, HaKadosh Baruch Hu erase all our sin. And that's the secret, and that's the remedy. Why? When a person reads Shirat Hayam, the song of the sea, HaKadosh Baruch Hu see that he's doing it with joys and happiness and kavana. What is the kavana? That he imagine that he crossing the sea and the Egyptian get drowned. HaKadosh Baruch Hu erase all of his sin. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, that we should all merit, okay, that to sing Shirat Hayam with full kavana, with joy and happiness, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna cleanse us, gonna erase our sin, and gonna accept our atonement. And then He send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days, Berachamim Rabim Umerubim, Amen, Ken Yeh Ratzon.